Today I sit down with AJ, one of the co-founders of the DeFi project EMP Money. This project offers passive income in a variety of different ways to its investors with the goal of establishing peg to Ethereum. We discuss a wide array of topics regarding EMP Money, and here on Better Blockchain, I'm not advocating for anyone to invest in these types of projects without thorough research and a very high risk tolerance. This is just a conversation of me learning more about the project. And I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, Sleep Money Club. This is a private Discord group that not only focuses on ways to make passive income in crypto, but stocks and other ways as well, which I am a part of. And if you do like videos like this, be sure to like and subscribe for new videos every week. And down in the comments below, let me know projects you would like to bring on the channel. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy our conversation. Hey everyone, welcome to today's episode of Better Blockchain. Today I'm sitting down with AJ, one of the co-founders of EMP Money. And I want you to go ahead, introduce yourself. Thank you so much for coming on, man. But yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself, as well as what does EMP Money do? What's the goal of EMP Money?
Yeah, Chris, no doubt, bro. Well, thanks for having me on, man. I'm a big fan of this channel. I love the content that you put out. And yeah, bro, we're becoming the OGs in the DeFi space. EMP is celebrating its 11th month of continuous yield. So, in the landscape today, a lot of the DeFi projects aren't lasting, weeks or months, let alone almost a year now. So anyway, my background, I am AJ Brockman. I'm fully doxxed. You can Google my name. We've been fully transparent from day one. And also, as you can see, I'm in a wheelchair. So I'm also a quadriplegic, but I've never let that hold me back. And I've launched multiple real-world successful businesses. I have a lot of commercial real estate background, as well as music industry. I own a brewery. A lot of diverse background. And my overall background, though, is I'm a professional artist. So my claim to fame was actually doing a portrait for President Obama back in 2012. So that really kicked off my art career and helped me, diversify into other businesses and really push in the arts in my community. And so about 5 years ago, I got into crypto. Obviously, I've always wanted to be in crypto sooner. Really, I got started about 7 years ago, but 5 years ago, I really got serious. And within the last 2 or 3 years, I've been crypto full time and actually making a living from crypto. And I've always specialized in DeFi and yield farms and really making my money work for me. And so I always wanted to have my own project, but I didn't want to have some meme token or a pump and dump or, something that didn't bring true value. And so I was really intrigued with the seigniorage model, which is what EMP is. It's a tomb finance fork. And the seigniorage models really were having a hard time and still are. But we have designed a lot of things different in our ecosystem that makes EMP even more sustainable. So the long story short is EMP is a seigniorage protocol, which is basically a fancy word for controlled inflation. And we are pegged to the price of Ethereum. So it's an amazing way to earn really high APR compared to just holding ETH, having that exposure to ETH. All while doing it on the Binance Smart Chain, where you don't have the gas fees associated with it. So that's it at a high-level overview. Again, EMP can be very complicated on the surface, but we can dive into all that a little bit later. But the whole point is that it's a way to produce passive income with exposure to ETH and BNB now as well through our secondary token, eShare. Which is our reward token. And so really, again, at the end of the day, it's about providing sustainable passive income with exposure to blue chip assets.
So can you talk more about the correlation between EMP and ETH, and then also to kind of like piggyback on that, the ETH merger? So for example, if ETH goes up, does that guarantee that EMP, like whatever I guess facet of EMP you're in, does that correlate with your EMP, I guess, investment? If that's, I know I probably can't use that word, but what's your take on that?
Yeah, no doubt. So we are a closed loop economy. EMP never had a pre-sale. It never had, an ICO, anything like that. So we are all participating in an economy here. Just again to clarify on that. But yeah, no. To answer your question, we are pegged both through deep liquidity and the actual math behind the way our protocol works. So the ratio is 4,000 EMP equals 1 Ethereum. And so right now we are a bit below peg. And I know a lot of people get really nervous with that, especially in seniors protocols where they have what's called a run on the bank, which is what ultimately ended up killing Tomb. Because they didn't have these safety measures in place to avoid that, and so we are below peg right now, but we're still maintaining APR. I mean, even right now, we're paying an average of 0.2% daily on all the positions in our ecosystem. And so, yeah, with again the actual math behind it and the deep liquidity. So our main liquidity pair is EMP and Ethereum. So it's actual BEP20 Ethereum, on the Binance Smart Chain that's backed by Binance themselves. And we have about $6 million of liquidity in EMP ETH LP. So to answer the other question you had, if ETH goes up, yeah, it automatically drags the price of EMP up with it. Again, I mean, peg is also a little bit of a variable in there. If peg continues to drop, but ETH goes up, then there is like kind of a lag, so to speak. But overall, I mean, yes, because of having so much ETH paired with EMP, when it goes up, it brings the price of EMP up with it. And even now, I mean, we're only about 0.5 peg at the moment. So once we get to that magic 1-to-1 ratio, EMP could be about 40 cents. So again, there is some upside potential in just the EMP token itself, but really, we're not immune to the bear market. The fact that we're even functioning right now is a testament to the economics when a lot of other protocols, have completely failed or rugged or whatever. EMP has never had an exploit. We've had 100% uptime, and even at these suppressed numbers overall, like I said, we're still paying an average about 0.2% daily, and that can go up massively when the whole market recovers as well.
Let's see, what am I trying to ask here? It's
Yeah, no,
kind of a
interesting,
two-part
brother. Yeah,
it's kind
totally.
of a two-part question. It's like, well, one, what do you think has I guess allowed you to last this long? But to get a little deeper on that question, is allowed you to function while still below peg? Is it the payouts? Is it people are receiving payouts, so it's like, let's just stay in here? And then the furthermore on that, my further question is I personally don't think the bear market's even close to being over. I think I'm very bearish on crypto as a whole, despite having better blockchain. I'm passionate on blockchain. Long term, I believe in it. I just think for the next short term, possibly next year, I think 2023 can be very bad. How are you protecting against that? So that's my kind of, I guess, two-part question.
No, I love it, Chris. Totally. So let me deep dive, and if there's something I missed, please ask me to clarify again for sure. But there's two major things that have allowed EMP to be the most successful seniors project out there, and that is our deep liquidity and our locked liquidity. So we have built these other contracts on top of our platform that we call detonator contracts. And Detonator is basically a daily ROI contract that locks up a ton of liquidity, and it only then pays out a much smaller percentage every day of that overall liquidity pool. So by doing this with protocol-owned locked liquidity, we have been able to mitigate what I said earlier about the run on the bank, because typically you're allowed to just remove your liquidity and that leads to people panicking. And then once all the liquidity is gone, then the price can really plummet without having that deep liquidity. So again, having $6 million in EMP ETH LP has really protected us from that. And then the second thing is education. I mean, we were one of the first DeFi protocols to offer a completely free online academy where we literally teach you. Sorry about that. My son's in the background.
Oh, it's okay.
Oh, wait up, man. So we literally teach you how to utilize the protocol in the best way possible. So that has been another big thing because a lot of times in DeFi, especially in seniors protocols, but in DeFi in general, like people don't really know what's going on. Like a lot of people are new to all this, and so by educating them on how to participate in the best way possible, not only for the protocol but for their own bags, that has had a huge amount of success. Keeping us sustainable, and really that's the beauty of the economic model that we have developed is what is best for the protocol is also best for you as the investor. So it really is a win-win for everybody. And then what was your second question? I'm sorry, bro. Yeah.
Just how can you protect, or I guess how are you
For an
protecting
extended
against
bear.
the like an extended bear market? Like, is it sustainable? For like, let's say BTC at these prices or lower, which I get it, it's pegged to Ethereum, but in turn affects the Ethereum price.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, BTC definitely still leads the market as far as, if that goes down, everything goes down. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm an eternal bull. I mean, I'm a perma bull. I'm always optimistic on what might happen. But you're 100% right, man. We could be in another year of this extended bear market. And I mean, again, unfortunately, I can't predict the future. And, I'm not one to kind of speculate, especially here at EMP. We talk about the facts rather than, going to the moon or, hyping up the coin. But yeah, I mean, we have seen with a 90% drawdown from Ethereum being $4,000. I mean, that's what ETH was when we launched the protocol. And we've seen that about 80 to 90% drawdown in the crypto market overall, and we're still hanging in there. So, even if the levels stayed where they were right now, we could easily pay for another year because we're extending our emissions on our reward token. That's another thing I didn't mention earlier. So we have a 2-token economy. EMP is our native asset, but we also have the token called eShare. And this is the only way to get more EMP through our protocol and through that controlled inflation, which again, people think inflation is a bad word, but as long as there's specific rules in place to mitigate the uncontrolled inflation can actually be very powerful because it's one of the only ways that everybody in the protocol can win without having to dump on each other's heads. So to that point, eShare is our reward token, and that can be bought and sold without any issue at all. Like it doesn't hurt the protocol if people sell eShare, and eShare has an inherent value always because that is the only way to get more EMP when we are back at peg. So again, I know this is all very complicated for people that may not be used to DeFi, but to answer your point, if we stayed at the levels that we are now, or even if we went down another 10 or 20%, we are more than confident that we'll be able to sustain, another year if that's what it takes, if not longer. I mean, again, we've been paying out APR every day, and that's the other thing. Like we're not 1% a day, we're not 2% a day. All these other major DeFi protocols that have these high APRs, they offer these amazing returns, but they're not sustainable. And we've seen that happen over and over again where these projects fail. And with EMP, we would much rather give a sustainable APR. It may not be the highest APR, but at least you're actually earning on your crypto, even during a bear market, which is just unbelievable. And really, I mean, at the end of the day, we're all here. You mentioned technology and crypto as a whole. I mean, we're all here because where in the world are you going to be able to earn even, 1% a month in traditional finance? I mean, that is not going to happen, especially in a bank account. So that's why I think, DeFi is so powerful as long as you build it around sustainability and not, a flash in the pan.
No, I mean, I completely agree with you. And I want to clarify too, for the audience, what is the exact APR of EMP Money, and why did you choose that specific one? Like that specific percentage?
Totally. So this is another amazing part of EMP is that the APRs are variable. So by doing this, that is how we're able to sustain and be, reliable. And so at the moment, as we're recording this video right now, the APR in the EMP ETH LP farm is about 0.17% daily, so just under 0.2% daily. But that APR has been as high as 0.8% when eShare and the overall market has been pumping. So it's variable based on the eShare price is really the main factor because you're rewarded in eShare. So the higher the eShare price, the better the APRs. But eShare automatically goes up when when BNB is up, when the whole market is up, and when we're closer to peg, because it gives that inherent value. So to answer your question, the APRs are variable, but the lowest they've ever been is about what they are now, and even that, at almost 0.2% daily, is pretty amazing. Especially when you still have your exposure to Ethereum. In other words, we're not, you're not just earning some arbitrary blue chip asset, or non blue chip asset rather. So, or some made up token. So, yeah, it's super powerful. And then there was one more point I was going to make too. So we have about 10 different ways to earn in our ecosystem. So I mentioned the detonator contract. That's paying closer to about 0.4% daily. We have another contract called Reactor, which again is that eShare BNB LP. That's paying closer to 0.5% daily. And even some of the other things are paying even more. So really, it just depends on your risk tolerance and where you want to be involved in the protocol, overall. Because any of those detonator reactor or any of our detonator contracts, that you do have to lock up your capital. So once it's deposited, you don't get access to it anymore. You just get a percentage given back to you every day. But the farms, we always say the farm is the best place to start, and that's that EMP ETH LP, and again that 0.17% daily.
No, that's great. Thanks for giving I knew that there were different, depending on where you enter EMP, the percentages kind of vary. And I was in EMP, I think it was around January, February, and I made some good money. But that you kind of segued into my next question is I guess this is another two-part question is what do you think the biggest risks to EMP is? And then how risky do you think EMP is? And I want you to answer this from two perspectives. The first one is general DeFi, right? Like, there's like the DeFi person, and then there's maybe someone, let's say someone who's never entered decentralized finance before. So I want you to kind of think of it from those two perspectives. But yeah, those are my questions.
Yeah, no, 100%. So, and this is going to segue into something also that is super exciting for the protocol. So the overall gist, and again, I mean, I'm a very different team lead. I'm not going to overhype our project and try to tell you it's the next best thing. I'm only going to tell you the facts, because the numbers don't lie. And I've made multi-million dollars portfolio in crypto, and I can tell you that EMP is literally one of the best performing protocols I've ever been a part of, even if I wasn't the team lead here. So, but all that being said, as far as risk, I mean, really, there's two major risks when it comes to protocols like ours. The number one is losing peg and then never being able to recover peg. But with a stable asset like Luna, obviously we saw that horrible debacle that happened Terra Luna. But my point is that we purposely have pegged to Ethereum, not a stable token, because Ethereum is a price appreciating asset. So by doing this, we don't have that pressure of maintaining a perfect, dollar peg if we were a stable token. And so this gives our participants a lot more confidence, because even if we are below peg, you're still able to earn extremely well, and that the risk of impermanent loss is extremely low because we are tied to Ethereum. So back to what you said earlier about ETH going up, that automatically brings the price of EMP up with it when that happens. So in terms of like risk, it really is extremely low risk. I mean, everything in DeFi is risky. Don't get me wrong. Anybody that tells you it isn't is just flat out lying to you. I mean, obviously, we could see the crypto market crash even harder, and then who knows what that could do to all the other assets. But from a DeFi perspective, this is one of the lowest risk protocols. And then from an overall crypto perspective, I mean, yeah, would it be safer to maybe hold your Ethereum in your wallet? Maybe, but you're not earning on that crypto. I mean, the ETH in your wallet is just sitting there, and you have to. The only way to profit is to have the price of Ethereum actually go up. And so, however, if you're earning with your crypto, again, that 0.2% APR, you can potentially profit without the price of Ethereum going up at all. And now you have more Ethereum that you've been accumulating for the next year. And then when the bull market hits again, now you still have the exposure to ETH. So you're having the best of both worlds by not only having your money work for you, but now you also have that to cash out when the bull market comes back around. So does that make sense, Chris? Hopefully I
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. And I mean, I'm totally there with you, where it's like, okay, you have these stable coins that are tied to an asset that's depreciating, on average 4% a year. That's the whole problem. Well, one of the bigger problems with stable coins. And then it's like, okay, they have to mitigate for that. Whereas this, yeah, okay, let's say the like crypto overall as a whole goes down. But like, if you're in crypto, we're under like, you believe in blockchain, and like over time, like yeah, okay, maybe it's bad for the next year or two, but long term, am I betting on Ethereum? Like, I think Ethereum is one of the best crypto assets to own. So I completely, I think that's awesome. It's kind of like a double-edged sword where you're able to, whereas the stable coins are fighting the negative 4%, you guys are long term betting on Ethereum. But I still want to talk about one thing though. And I think I think it is a risk with any DeFi platform. And we saw this with yield nodes where, and this is just how it is, right? Like what happens across one platform, like other platforms have to answer for it. We saw it with FTX, KuCoin, and Gemini, and all these other platforms came out and they're like, hey guys, like your funds are safe. So in DeFi, it's a little bit more micro, but with, yield nodes, right? Like they had all their funds. I was at the audit. And I'm still not 100% convinced that they went from 30% over collateralized to losing 90% of their funds. Now, can I prove it? Absolutely not. I'm not going to make any accusations. I'm just saying, okay, from a centralized aspect, yes, there's a period of time where certain funds are locked up. How do we know? And the yield nodes team was doxxed, by the way. So my question for you is,
totally,
I guess, what level of transparency are you providing? Can you get into that at all? Like what's stopping EMP from just being like, all right, guys, like, peace out. We got 9 figures locked up,
totally.
Deuces.
No, bro, I love it. Yeah, and again, these are the kind of questions I love, because a lot of other protocols will shy away from it. But yeah, I mean, we definitely have built our protocol on transparency, and we operate the economics of EMP operates in a completely different mechanism than yield nodes or a lot of these other daily ROI platforms, where it's essentially a glorified Ponzi scheme where, yes, they may have revenue streams, but unless there's new volume, they end up bleeding out. And that's what we've seen. So with EMP, like we have no centralized holding. We are a closed loop economy, which means that the users determine the value of eShare. And really, I bring up eShare because that's what matters. I mean, if the price of eShare is up, that is what directly determines the APR in the platform. So as long as there is a demand for eShare, the free market economy will determine that value. It has nothing to do with what EMP does or any of our holdings, as a protocol. So that is very different. I mean, no other DeFi protocol works like that, like an economy. Again, that's seniors protocols. There are a few other seniors protocols out there now that are moving towards more sustainable models, and even us. I mean, we definitely see some issues still with the economic model, and so we talk about it. And by the way, we do daily AMAs on our YouTube channel to answer all these questions on a daily basis, and we're already working on what we're calling the final form, like a Pokemon evolving into the final form, the final form of our model, where again we will be even more sustainable and not so heavily reliant on the prices of eShare going up long term. So and to answer your question, I mean, really, the detonator contracts are closed source. And the reason that we do that is because we offer detonator contracts as a service to other protocols. We've already had 2 partners. One is Splinterlands, which is a huge play to earn game on the Hive blockchain. And the other one is Growth DeFi. And both of those have had over $1 million deposited into those contracts. And again, I mean, to answer your question, like, we do everything we can. We've been audited. We're going through a Paladin audit right now. We show all the wallets, like you can see our treasury wallets on chain. But there is that level of trust. And, again, I mean, we don't have access to run off of the funds, because really, and that's the other beautiful part. Like we, and I didn't even mention this at the beginning. One of the major differences with EMP is that we had a genesis phase where there was a 6, what we call them the select 6. It was a group of 6 individuals, all team members at the time, that we did our own genesis phase. So again, for those of you that may not be familiar with how seniors protocols work, there's about a week of time where the initial liquidity is minted, both EMP and eShare. And so typically in the seniors protocols and Tomb, all the big guys, they had open Genesis rounds, open to the public. And by doing that, that puts a lot of early investors at a major, major advantage by having a lot of the tokens that they can dump on your head. And so we said we weren't going to do that. We made a commitment to each other that we'll do the initial Genesis phase and then hold those tokens as the founding member. So even now, I mean, you can see based on wallet addresses, like there really isn't a lot of wallets that are holding a ton of EMP that aren't, protocol owned. So, and a lot of the wallets are multi-sig. Like, we've done everything that we can to show trust and transparency. But at the end of the day, like you said, I mean, no matter what we do, a scammer is always going to find a way to scam. And we're going to try to do everything we can to not do that and to really, continue our transparency moving forward. And our track record, I think, proves that. I mean, at one point we had a 50 million TVL in our protocol, and obviously we didn't, walk away then. So we're really building for the future, and there are a lot of measures in place that we don't even have access to the minting function. That's another thing. Like, we can't mint new EMP. It's impossible. The only way to mint new EMP is through the boardroom mechanism, which again, you have to have eShare to be able to do that. So there is a lot of things in place based on the code that protects everybody involved.
Yeah, and I mean, I wanted to say this earlier too. Like, you guys have always been really good about handling criticism. Like, I mean, you guys have even commented on some of my videos where I'm like clearly just addressing my concerns. And you
Totally.
guys are always like super cool about it, which I think says a lot. Like, I don't think any other protocol has really ever done that. So that alone, already like, okay, like these guys, like they're trying to improve. And you mentioned this. I want to ask you this question. So you mentioned how like you're pretty much the biggest type of your protocol in this space, but I guess this is another two-part question: is who is your biggest competitor, and why are they your biggest competitor? I guess like what do they do well? And then to piggyback on that is, when you're the biggest competitor in a space, especially something where like 11 months is a long time, there's a lot of pioneering that goes on, right? And with pioneering, there's like you mentioned, you're trying to figure stuff out, and that's cool. But like, what do you think? Like, why do you think EMP Money could be the one? Like, why do you think that you guys can be the one to figure, like, to solve this problem, right? Those are my questions.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Chris. So, and again, to back up a little bit, bro, like I always appreciate you, spitting how you feel. I mean, that's really what, asking the hard questions. Again, there's never been questions that we shy away from. Again, I've been in crypto now full time, and I run EMP as if I was an investor, and looking in from the outside, like in everybody's shoes. Where and that was one of the reasons we did the academy. It's one of the reasons we do the daily AMAs. Like, I want to be able to have direct contact with people that are trying to make all this happen. So anyway, that all being said, to get to your point, yeah, I mean, we have assembled some of the brightest minds in crypto. I mean, we based on our development and what we've been trying to build as far as sustainability, it's drawn a lot of crypto dudes and dudettes that have really loved what we're doing, and with that, they've offered their experience and their brain power into building even more things into the protocol. So we have expanded the team from our original 6. Now, between who we have brought on and a few other subcontractors, we have about 12 people working actually as team members for EMP. And again, some of those are subcontractors. But the point is that we have more ideas on what to implement than the time to actually develop it. So that's the bottleneck that we're running into now, is just having enough quality developers to implement everything that we want to implement. And so we're really excited for the next year. I think we're going to have a lot of things coming out that will even bolster, and we can talk about one of those at the very end here. But really, as far as like who is our biggest competition, I mean, that's a hard one, man. I think that the biggest competition that we get is these DeFi protocols that come out and offer 1, 2, 3% daily, and then we get people that leave our protocol to chase those APRs that. And then, they may be killing it for a week or 2 weeks, a month, but then either the protocol rugs, or the APR falls off. And had they just stayed at EMP and earned maybe a little bit of a lower APR, but had that consistency, they would actually be ahead of the game. So that's really what we're running into now, is just APR chasing people that want to go to other protocols that may be a little bit more flashy or a little bit higher APR. But the smart money knows that it's much better to have a lower APR, but have it be over years, what we hope is years, and we feel is absolutely achievable. Again, we have a 10-year roadmap in EMP, which is crazy. A lot of protocols don't even have a 1-year roadmap. So I would say that's kind of our biggest competition. There are a few other senior protocols on other chains that have been doing well. They just don't have the market cap that Binance Smart Chain has, or BNB Chain now. So that answers that question. And then, yeah, what makes EMP the one? I mean, I would really boil it down to our community. I mean, I know all the crypto projects out there say they have the best community in DeFi or in crypto in general, but we call our community emperors and or empresses. And really, I mean, we have proven that we are the best community in crypto because not only when the market gets bad, we don't have a lot of panic selling like we see in other protocols. We have a ton of loyal followers, and not only in the fact of they do, support the protocol, but also in the capital that they possess. We've had many partnerships that we put together where EMP has brought literally hundreds of thousands of dollars into these partnerships, and that carries a lot of weight. Like we do our due diligence. We the protocols that we do partner with are ones that we are confident in, and so with this, we have built almost a conglomerate of DeFi protocols that are going to be here for the long run, that are focused on sustainability. They have really competent teams, and really, I'm less about competition and more about the rising tide rises all ships. And so I really think that the DeFi protocols that remain, especially over the next year, they truly deserve the success that they have and have proven themselves to be able to handle whatever the market throws at us for sure. So
No, I mean, that's a good point. Like, whoever makes it out of this bear market, that's just going to solidify themselves even more come the next, even, bull run, or even when we just get out of just these, this downward trajectory as a whole. And you mentioned the 10-year roadmap. Can you kind of talk about like what the end of that roadmap looks like, and this closed loop system with this, like, let's say 0.2% interest per day? Is that always going to be there? Is this just kind of like, will it evolve to, something less than that? Like, what's the whole, like, as an, like someone who's in the EMP protocol, what does that, I guess, journey to the finish line look like, assuming you were to stay in the protocol the whole time?
totally, yeah, bro. So there are a few things that I can't mention, just because it's super alpha on what we're rolling out this next year, in terms of addressing any runaway inflation, or the fact that we the ultimate goal, and this will answer your question I think the best. The ultimate goal at EMP is that we want to be able to build things in our protocol that make it to where you're actually able to earn more money, whether that be BUSD, actual Ethereum, more BNB, any blue chip asset or stablecoin, but you're actually able to earn more money by holding EMP than selling it. And so again, that plays into the final form and our 10-year roadmap. We have a lot of plans. We've talked about doing the buzzword of last year was launch pads. Everybody was putting together launch pads. Well, we're looking to put together what we're going to call an incubator. And so it basically takes this launch pad idea of launching other protocols down the road, but really hand cultivating them, where we can give them all the advice, all the insight that we've learned running a protocol over the last year, and really helping them to grow into something special. And the only way to get into those protocols will be by having EMP or eShare. One of those now that we already announced is called Impulse, which will be the first seniors protocol on the Pulse chain when and if it ever launches. But yeah, the idea is that we want to diversify everybody in our protocol and give them opportunities to earn over the crypto market as a whole. And so we're always going to drive towards that goal. And again, holding EMP or staking EMP becomes more profitable than actually selling it. So again, I hate to be a little vague on that, but we have in our academy, we break down our 1 year, our 5 year, and our 10-year roadmap. But the whole idea is that we're going to pivot too. I think that's really important. Like, a lot of protocols have a roadmap or a game plan, and that game plan can be flawed, or something in the market happens where that isn't going to work anymore. And so we're super agile, and we're open to pivoting. And if we see an avenue that we can really capitalize on, then we're going to move towards that, you know? So I think that's another major thing that EMP does different than other protocols. If we see a problem, you know, or an opportunity, we either correct the problem or capitalize on that opportunity, and we will always do that moving forward.
No, I think that's awesome. And I think pivoting for any project, if you look at any project that's been around since, you know, the last few years, hardly any of them are still doing what they originally started at. And that's,
For sure.
I mean, that's just business. You know, like you see problems, you adapt, you know, maybe some more different problems pop up that are more profitable or better for the overall company, community, or whatever. So, no, I think that's fantastic. And I know that you mentioned to me that you guys are starting something new, or can you go in? Can you just talk about that and what that is, and kind of the reason for that, and the byproducts of some of that?
Absolutely, brother. So and again, this plays into this perfectly about pivoting. So we were thinking to ourselves, you know, how can we offer our protocol in a much more easy to digest manner? Because the number one, and this is another thing, like we always listen to feedback from our community, and so what the number one complaint was, and I say complaint in air quotes, but the number one complaint originally is that EMP is just very complicated on the surface. And we are. I mean, this is cutting edge DeFi. I mean, it's not, you know, something simple. We do everything we can to educate people, but if they don't want to take the time to learn, then they miss out on what we're offering. And so we literally just announced this yesterday that we are launching an NFT on Ethereum mainnet. So again, this is another marketing play where we're actually targeting people outside of our community. Because if you're already in EMP, you're earning APR, you're killing it. You know, you know how all that mechanisms work. But if you're not in EMP, the barrier to entry can be kind of high. So we wanted to target a whole new audience, and even now a whole new chain. So we're launching what we're calling our Power Up NFTs on Ethereum mainnet. And so the mint will be on December 3rd. We'll post all the info in our socials leading up to that. But what this does is it allows you to just buy an NFT and then essentially virtually mine Ethereum. So just like you would have, you know, a miner mining Ethereum, now you can't, because Ethereum is proof of stake rather than proof of work. But what we're able to do through a series of smart contracts, again, nobody is managing money for you. Everything is self custody, meaning you own your crypto at all times. You know, we're not like a centralized exchange, you know, using your crypto in the background for you. So all this is done through smart contracts. And what happens is you buy this NFT, they're going to be the equivalent of $1,000 in Ethereum. And by doing so, we're able to utilize those funds in our EMP ecosystem completely hands off, to where you can earn this APR and earn actual Ethereum back, just like if you were mining it, you know, through proof of work. Only with us, we're calling it proof of liquidity, where we're actually able to utilize, again, our EMP protocol to generate Ethereum yields. And we did something similar with this earlier in the year with the straight Ethereum staking in our protocol, and had massive success with that. We paid about 19% APR in a matter of like 3 months. These won't be as lucrative as that was, because that was also in the middle of a bull run, or the end of the bull run. But my point is that this is an amazing opportunity for people to get involved into EMP without having to do all the research and homework and due diligence into doing it on their own. So We're launching that again December 3rd, and we also have some other NFTs. Another quote unquote complaint was with our detonator and reactor protocols, that are the smart contracts that are built on top of EMP with compounding. So we incentivize daily active users by having a 24-hour window where, unless you claim or compound within that 24-hour window, the rewards go back into the pool. So we had a lot of people say, well, that's great, but sometimes I can't get to the compound, or I forget, or whatever. So we actually launched another NFT earlier, about 3 weeks ago, called the Sentinel Squadron NFT, that is essentially an auto compounder in the reactor protocol, or smart contract. So, and that we were able to raise about $1.5 million by selling those NFTs, and it was the largest independent NFT mint on Binance Smart Chain. So at the time, the only larger one was the PancakeSwap buddies. But if we're competing with PancakeSwap, we're in a good spot. So my point is that these NFTs have showed major success in the protocol, not only because it takes away the human element, so to speak, but it's also extremely important for the sustainability of the protocol, because funds are being utilized in the most ideal way possible. So we're really excited about that too, brother.
Yeah, and those Ethereum, I guess, mining NFTs, what's like, how many of those are there going to be? And I know that you mentioned it's not going to be as lucrative, obviously, but are there any estimated APRs on that? Or, I mean, and
Yeah.
like, how is that like a once a month like airdrop to your wallet that you're holding NFT in, or how does that work?
For sure, bro. So yeah, we have a full breakdown on our Mint page that's
Okay.
going live. But yeah, absolutely. Let me get into all that. So yeah, again, we're targeting, and again, it's more of a marketing ploy of the Ethereum virtual miner, because a lot of the miners right now are either mining at a loss, or literally just getting completely screwed because the algorithm gets more difficult. The rigs that they bought are no longer profitable. They have the overhead with all the high electricity, and it's just a pain in the ass to be a miner. And I mean, we're seeing 5-year ROI time. That is an eternity in crypto. So with traditional mining. So with our Power Up NFT, we're looking at a 1 to 2 year ROI time, which is again about 5 times the return that a traditional miner would get. So we're hesitant on publishing an actual APR. Again, just like I mentioned earlier, all of our APRs are fluctuating, but the beautiful part is that you're essentially creating LP in that NFT, with Ethereum and EMP being at extremely low. Yeah, I don't want to say the floor, because we never know, we could see another dip. But the point is that you're getting in when prices are really low, and so if and when Ethereum and EMP doubles or triples, that will reduce your ROI time by 2 or 3x. So really, you could see an ROI of less than a year if the market recovers as well. And really, at the end of the day, it's about not having your assets stay idle and not making you money. The idea is that you want to make your assets into a revenue stream for yourself. So with these NFTs, you sacrifice, or you buy, you get rid of a 1 ETH in terms of hoping to have 2, 3, 4 ETH over the next 2, 3 years. So and we don't have a mint cap. Again, they're an equivalent value of about $1,000 payable in Ethereum. We'll have a real-time calculator on the Mint page that'll tell you what the price in ETH is. But and then we utilize that ETH again in our ecosystem through a series of smart contracts to produce the yield, and we're minting for 48 hours. So however many are minted in that 48 hour is what it is. They are pure utility NFTs, so all the artwork is the same, and there really isn't any, collectability value. It's simply just a token of your ownership in these, virtual miners. So, and then once a week, we'll have, as long as you own the NFT, it'll show up. The NFTs show up in your wallet, but then you'll go to our website and be able to claim your rewards once a week. But they'll accumulate as well. So even if you want to, only claim, once every few months or once a year and save those gas fees, all of it will be there waiting for you.
No, that's really cool, and I'm glad you clarified on the utility aspect of the NFT. I think NFTs have gotten a really bad rap, just from the NFT quote unquote bubble. But I think it's instances like this with these NFTs are really just placeholders, and they're actually giving you a position in whatever it is. So I think that's really cool. And I think that's really interesting too, how it's 48 hours. It's like, guys, you can mint as many as you want, but after this mark, it's done. I think that's really cool.
Yep,
that
totally,
you're doing
brother.
that.
Yep. And really it's awesome too, because, like you said, there has been this NFT bubble where people are paying, millions of dollars for a JPEG, that other than being involved in that community and maybe some airdrops, there really is no inherent value. We look at NFTs as an income producing asset, having it be again purely utility. So it's a super. I think that is the way NFTs are going to change the world, not just monkey pictures, but man. So we're excited for that, and and really the other beautiful part is, obviously the more that we sell, the yields can actually be higher, but it's not like we have a minimum either. So in other words, if we only sold a couple of hundred of these NFTs, we're still able to produce, the returns that we're thinking. So, and again, maybe down the road we open up another round, but as of right now, this 48-hour window is all that you're going to get for at least the next 3 or 4 months for sure. So.
That's really cool. Yeah, thanks for clarifying that. That's that you can still, it's like, guys, even if a couple hundred, because I know that gets asked sometimes too, but I'm sure, with a community like you guys have, I'm sure it's not going to be an issue for you for what you guys are trying to do. And I wanted to ask, so Better Blockchain's still pretty small, but I like to still ask, hey guys, do you have any questions for AJ or people that I bring on? And someone asked me to ask you this. What is the potential partnership with OPT would look like? Can you talk on that at all?
Yeah, I love it, man. So we currently have some partnerships already in place. One of them is MDB, making DeFi better. They've been a killer protocol that uses that over collateralized model that you said with yield nodes, but in a much more transparent way, and through a smart contract that cannot be breached. But they've been a killer partner. Hydro Whales is another one. El Taco Finance. And so, we're working on an OPT, a possible OPT partnership right now. I had a meeting with DeFi Dude and their team yesterday. I actually have one more now. Had that right after our call here. But I like what they're doing. Again, I mean, I've always been hesitant on the traditional, trading bots. I know we've seen kind of the bot season right now. But I think if anybody can pull it off, it's going to be OPT. So again, I like what they're doing. We're still doing a little more due diligence on our end, but the team is really solid. Again, DeFi Dude, Rusty, and Tuna. I mean, they're all really, really good dudes. And based on all of our conversations, they have the same mindset that we do. Like, they want to build for sustainability and whatever that might take. I know they have a vote right now reducing the APR from 1% a day down to 0.5% a day. And that really shows me that they get it. Like they know that 1% a day may not be sustainable. So yeah, I love the team. No alpha I can drop yet on your channel, but yeah, I hope that EMP and OPT will have some good things in our future.
You got it, man. No, that's cool. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Only disclose what you can. And where can people find you guys at? Where are you guys active? Can you talk about that? And all links will be down below.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. So we have amazing community. I mean, unlike again a lot of other DeFi protocols, like if you come into our protocol and ask questions, there's people ready and waiting to help you. It's not like get out of here or you don't know what you're talking about. Like we're super supportive of all of our socials. So yeah, we have a great presence on Twitter, EMP Money on Twitter, EMP Money on Telegram, and EMP Money on Discord. So those are the big social media outlets. And then even on YouTube, please go to YouTube and subscribe to the EMP Money official YouTube channel. We are now monetized. And so just like you, Chris, I feel like I'm a YouTuber now, bro. So we do our daily AMAs, and it's all about EMP. But we talk about overall market conditions. It's about an hour every day that is just a great recap of crypto in general and specifically EMP.
That's awesome, man. No, yeah, links will be down below. AJ, I want to thank you so much for coming on, answering my questions. Yeah, really appreciate your time, and I'm excited to see what EMP Money, like, how you guys do. Like, I'm here for it, so I'll attend one of your guys live, like your live streams, and ask some more questions.
Yeah, man, no doubt. And again, I mean, we've seen, if you look at the chart, we saw an awesome run up on EMP when we announced our Sentinel Squadron NFTs a few months ago, or about a month ago, a few weeks ago. And so we anticipate that again, leading up to this power up NFT. And really, again, the idea is that not only are we going to eventually recover PEG, but then we have all the mechanisms in place to maintain PEG. So that's really what we're focused on going into the end of the year and early next year. So yeah, man, we'd love to have you along for the ride, brother.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks again. Look forward to talking soon.
All right, guys. Bye-bye.